Welcome to Ghetto Youth Bible Conversation with Garold Hamilton.
Now, I have a lot of folks on both on Facebook Live. Welcome,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Kurt Waul, to the first episode of Ghetto Youth Conversation. We showcased the video a while ago about the DTR Foundation, what we're doing in the community, and really show that we're going through unprecedented time with this COVID pandemic. And we want, Jamaica on a whole and all the folks who are on this Zoom call as well to know that, although it's tough times, we will get through. We will get through. And I wanted to give, that even an ounce of hope, because we know that, there's a lot of people who are not that fortunate, who we have lost during this, tragic period. But we want to know that we're still here and we're still fighting. Just make sure that we take all necessary precautions, social distancing, and making sure that we wear a mask. We have to wear a mask whenever we're out in public. So Dr. Waul, welcome. And let's start. Start with your background. I don't want to go on and tell you to talk everything about yourself, because I want this narrative and this whole interview to really tell the audience about you, the man, and about your background, how you grew up, and how you became a medical doctor. So how was it in growing up in Old Harbour Bay and Marley Mount? From
Old
St.
Harbour Bay.
Catherine.
Yes, so Old Harbour Bay, as you know, and Marley Mount are communities within Southwest St. Catherine. And most of my time was really spent in Old Harbour Bay. As you know, Old Harbour Bay is a very closely knit community. Most of the people there are very close friends and are actually family. And it was a very nurturing environment. Everybody knew who your parents were, they knew you, and they looked out for you. You understand? So that's the best way I could describe it. It was a very nurturing environment.
And it's funny because that's exactly the way I grew up, in terms of having a community be a part of parenting kids. And I think that's something that we're truly missing, or that's truly departed from our communities in Jamaica. That's really affecting us, and that's really changing the narrative and really causing the spore of crimes and really lack of structure within the community. So that's something that if we can somehow try to recreate in communities, that's something as a social intervention that we should try to do. So it's really, to hear you say that it's really the root of how we were able to progress back in the days. So I understand you saying that these communities, this community were safe in terms of crime and stuff. But was there any factions that yes, you will have people who are disobeying the law and stuff, but was there any situation, anything compared to what we have now?
No. As you know, crime in Southwest St. Catherine, especially murders, it has been the highest it has ever been since the constituency was formed. Mark, these communities now are relatively safe, but compared to then, it's like day and night. It was very safe back then. Now it's just relatively safe, But,
Okay.
It has recorded the highest number of murders last year.
Wow. Coming from where it was, that's truly sad. But we're going to talk more about that and stuff. But as a community, how did the community contribute to you as a person? How did it really give you the tools and even some of the moral values that you are using now, as a guidance, to your life and to your career now?
It's all our be basically all our be people taught me how to love. They taught me, that people could actually love people, have faith in them, and really, nurture them. That's how I would put it. So it really had a great impact on me. As I said, I love the people from my community, and it's not because of anything else other than the fact that they were the ones who taught me how to love people. So it was a reciprocal kind of relationship between them and I. You understand?
Absolutely.
That's the way I would put it.
Absolutely. One of the things I talk about in Ghetto Youth Bible a lot, and it's what we call commandment 1, is finding a mentor. it's extremely important to find somebody who can inspire you, somebody who can teach you the ropes, as you're saying. So in your community, and as family, who do you consider a mentor?
Well, my father, he was a very strong figure. He was well respected inside the community, and he was well respected by his other family members and his children. And he basically was the tower of strength around us. Marky, my mother was also very good person, and she was the basis of our educational background. When we were small, she really pushed us hard,
Yes.
younger days. But my dad I spent a lot of time growing up with my dad. As you know, the family separated a bit, and I spent most of my growing up years with him. And,
Okay.
he was a real tower of strength at that time.
And that's something that we talked about a lot in terms of having strong father figure, and really just having the father being an important part of a child's life. That's something that I think is of utmost important, especially with today's society. It's having that role model that you need at home, that can help you and help the parents. And one of the things that as African American, as Black people, and as Jamaican also, we suffer from is it's single parents home.
Right?
With most of the father not being around and stuff and everything. So kudos to Dr. to Senior Waul for being there and being that light for you, to shine. And that's something that we want to continue to push, our, young men, just to make sure that they make good decisions. And those decisions, is really to be there for their kids. Whether it's as, whether they're with the parents or not, they should be a part of the child's life as men, and children do need their fathers. And that's something that I'm a big advocate of.
Definitely.
So one of the things you said that your parents were believers in education, which is my
Yes.
parent also. Like my parents were the same. They weren't educated, but they believe that
Yes.
it's a way out of out of poverty. So how was that structure? How did they were they harsh on you and trying to push you to make sure that the schoolwork is done? How was the whole experience?
Well, I can go back. As I said, I have very vivid memories of childhood. I can remember back as early as being around 2 to 3 years old. And I remember at that time, my mom, we started school very early. There was this one famous gentleman inside the constituency, Mr. Elder, what is deceased now, but that was where we started out, and that was the early childhood education. Yes, and I remember my mom used to drop us off there in the morning and come back in the evenings. And Elder Watt was a very good place. And then I moved on to Marley Basic in an infant department, and then to their primary school, right? I can remember in the days, my dad, he was the one who always incentivized us to excel. I remember back in the days, $20 was a lot of money.
Yes.
He used to say, boy, son, if you can get a 80 or 90% on this exam, and you get a $20,
So you were motivated by the money also in terms of getting that $20.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, man. So he always tried ways, to incentivize us and to push us, And as a
Yes.
young boy growing up in the community, you want some pocket change. So
Yes.
you want to do well to get the money too.
Absolutely. So, it doesn't matter what motivates you. If something, that's the thing about it, and I want to implore to the youths out there, whatever we can use as tool to motivate our youths, whether it's money or whether we use some other sources, we have to be creative. And Senior Waul was creative in creating. I know you cannot give a young man $20 today and tell him about motivation. If it's not US dollars, it's
equivalent around $2,000 maybe.
$2,000. Yes, absolutely. So you passed a common entrance, and what high school did you went to? Did you go to? What high school did you go to?
Well, I passed for St. Jago High School, which is in St. Catherine.
Yes.
It is renowned as one of the best high schools in St. Catherine, up to now. So, those days were very good at St. Jago. As you know, St. Jago is a educational oriented school. They focus a lot on that. We do participate in a lot of sporting activities, but I think at that time, even though education was always their key focus, and it was good. It was
Absolutely.
very.
Absolutely. When you talk about common entrance, I know it's very different now with GSAT and now PEP. I remember your name used to come out in the paper. That's something that that live with me up to today, because I think when you get your results and your name in the paper, you're considered a superstar as far as I'm concerned. That's something that I think that it was awesome. Now we have the internet era and stuff, and you're told differently, but I remember the experience of your name coming out in paper. But that's so St. Diego. So tell me more about St. Diego. Like, how was it attending that school? The teachers, in terms of how did they help to mold you? How was that experience?
Yes, well, from first farm to fourth farm, we had very excellent teachers. Even up to fifth farm, we had challenges sometimes in fifth farm for a lack of teachers in specialist areas. But the good thing about St. Diego, it was also a very closely knit family. And I remember there was this one student there, his brother actually came back and he helped us in physics. He usually come in at around 7 o'clock in the mornings, and he did his physics classes before we did our devotion. Yes. That was a famous Mr. Whitehead, and I tell you, he came back religiously for most of the physics sessions, and I can tell you most of us did very well just based off that alone,
Yes, so, and that's one of the things that I realized, because I did my degree. I went to high school in Jamaica at Mannings, and I thought that the teachers were terrific. I think I think the teachers at that time was extremely committed, to the learning, and very creative in terms of how they allow us to grow and to learn, and how they support us. So that's something that's extremely important. And I really suspect it's the same that's going on in the high schools. So that's something that, as Jamaican, we don't want to take that as granted. We have very good teachers that are committed to pushing us the extra mile, because having that foundation is extremely important, because that really helped me, and I'm sure it's the same that helped you as you go along. But one of the things that would you change anything about like your childhood growing up? Is that something that, what would you change if you would change something?
Well, I tell you, man, I think there are certain issues, but I think overall I had a very, exciting childhood. We grew up in a time when the community was safe. As I say, I used to get up in the mornings, sometimes even 3 o'clock when I was 10 and 11 years old.
Yes.
We get together a bunch of friends and we go fishing. You understand? Yes. I could never imagine me sending out my son now at 10 years old to go inside the community and walk and go down to the seaside and catch. But that's how we lived,
Yes.
We played marbles, we played gig football and cricket with a lot of family and friends, and we went to the bushes and we shot birds and all of that. My childhood, when I think back,
And I want you to make sure that when you said you shot bird, did you shoot bird with a...
No, with slingshot.
with a catapult and catch with, yes, we didn't shoot bird with shotguns, and that's
at that time.
Yes, I remember doing the same thing. I remember having a number of birds. I remember having barber dove, ground dove, even pigeons. Back at my house. Because we catch those and ball plate. So those were the good memories, and I think I share the same view in terms of my childhood. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Yes.
And that's what we want a lot of these youths appreciate nowadays, is that we have opportunity. The opportunity in terms of the situation we grow in, it helps us to create a type of resilience that you don't get on a normal basis, and growing up in Jamaica does that for us. Yes. And we should basically try to use that as something that shaped us, and not something that's as acting as an impediment to our growing and being successful. So just not diverting a bit, but what are your key takeaways, from your upbringing that you would share with the younger generation?
Yeah, as I said before, I had a very good childhood, but not everything was always okay. As I said early on in my life, the parents split, right?
Yes.
And so you had to adapt a lot. And I
Yes.
think that is one of my strongest points. I was able to adapt in different
Yes.
environments to get the
Yes.
most out of any particular environment I was in. You
Yes.
know, being a child, children have to realize nowadays that being a child, you have to accept certain circumstances sometimes
Yes.
and really make the best out of them. And
Yes.
I did that. I think I did that quite well, and I was able to come out successful. I was
Yes.
very persistent in whatever I did. I don't think I was ever the brightest child, but I was a very persistent child.
Yeah.
I always knew how to bounce back, and if I thought that I wasn't doing well in a particular area, I doubled down and I focused and refocused until I did well at it. You understand?
That's really good to hear,
Mm,
because some people believe that you're a medical doctor.
mm,
A lot of people would think that you were always brilliant and always bright, and here you saying refocus and keep working at it. And
mm,
that's the spirit. That's the spirit
mm,
that we have to try to develop. And that's, it's great to hear that that's one of the takeaways from you growing up, is really trying to recalibrate and trying to work harder. And that's what, that's what we are passing on to the younger generation, is that not giving up. It's really using, that type of philosophy, in that we're going to continue to work on it as hard as we can and give it our all, until we get it right. And
yes,
here
yes,
we go, a medical doctor.
I
So
tell you.
you went to University of West Indies, which is the
Right.
same. I went to UA,
Yeah, yes.
as well. Why UA was hard in terms of how they do things. I'm not, to be honest, but um, and then you were on Taylor Hall, a butcher. But
Well,
but I should let you know that I am a Chancellor Height and
yes,
I'm a lion.
yeah.
So
I will tell you a story about that. I actually, when I went to university, I went to Chancellor Hall. That is where I went. But I
yes,
don't even remember knife, famous knife
yes,
from Taylor Hall.
yes, I do.
My cousin there, Lawrence Harvey, he was, a paternal cousin of knife. And
Yes.
I was his maternal cousin. And when he told Knife about me, Knife said, "Why, we have to have all the family one place now." And they just come in the middle of the night and move me out one day. And bring me over to Taylor, and the rest was history.
So Knife was always, Knife is a professor now, and a very key guy in
Yes.
in economics, and
Mm.
for at the University of the West Indies. But Knife was, I always claim he was a good footballer, but I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't recognize those talents. But so that means we could say that you were a Chancellor man first, but you later
Well,
become a Taylor, right?
yes, yeah, but
Yeah.
my,
And that's the thing about it also. When you talk about halls and stuff, halls of residence, it's really something that I think that's instrumental in helping university student in guiding them, their guidance, and act as
definitely.
a rudder in, really, because you have a lot of persons there who are mentors in themselves,
Right, right,
that
right.
really ensure that your parents don't waste their money when they send you to come to the University of the West Indies. And that's something that I think that's something that I enjoyed
Yeah,
being a part of.
it's an environment that is very, very conducive to learning. The fact that, you don't have to travel back and forth every day, which really takes a toll on you. And you're able to settle down, you have all the facilities in one location. It was a very great, great environment to learn in, you understand?
Yes, and
And believe,
one of the things that I really enjoyed, it's the brotherhood that's on Hall. It's everybody trying to work together for the common good and really getting you
yes.
the best degree possible. And that's
Mhm.
something that people who haven't gone on Hall or haven't studied in UA don't understand. That institution is tremendous in terms of how they encourage you, and how the brotherhood and trying to get you forward and moving the needle.
Mhm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. As I said, you live on all, and you know, there was no competition in terms of all the competition. There was healthy competition. The competition was basically challenging you to do better, not necessarily better than the other person, but to do as best as you could as a person. You
Yes.
understand? And
Yes.
it was very good.
Yeah, so you know, just diverting, so completing university at the West Indies. You know, you went to medical school, must be how much years you did in medical school?
Well, originally I went there as a natural science student.
Yes.
You know, I did 1 year, and then I matriculated to medicine, and then I spent 5 years there.
Yes.
You know, before I got the medical degree.
Wow, so 6 years.
Right, right.
6 years.
Right.
That's you know, that's something. So, and then you did your internship at the Spanish Town Hospital.
Yes, immediately when I finished my degree, you know, there was only one place that came to mind, and it was going back to the Spanish Town Hospital, which was which is the only hospital really in St. Catherine, and it's you know, the closest to my community. As I said before, I wanted to be close to all my friends and family and people of my community, because they played a very great role in my development, and you know, I wanted to be close to them just in case I had to return a favor. I was close by and at arm's reach, you know. So that was going back to Spanish Town Hospital was very, very important to me.
But even over that, I'm sure you had the opportunity to go overseas that a lot of folks did.
Yes,
and could have earned much more money in doing that.
Yes, you know, I could have done anything I wanted to do, believe me, because I think I did very well in my degree. I didn't graduate with an honors, but I got honors in a number of disciplines, you know.
Yes.
You know, and you have to have a certain amount. I probably missed out by one or so. So I could have gone on to do anything, you know, but for me, when I left, that was the thought that hit me, you know, just go back inside your community.
Yes.
And try and help out in whatever way you can, because they were very helpful to you, you know.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And I think that's even myself and some of us that are overseas, you know, we choose that chose that path, and but we still should try to give back to our community and try to, if we're if we're doing investment, try to go back and invest in your community.
Definitely.
Also. And one of the investment is also invest in mentoring some of the youths in the community, because that's a key investment. So I applaud you. You know, I applaud you, Dr. Waul, for you know, taking the initiative and moving back to your community to serve. You know, so you set up your own medical practice after leaving the Spanish Town.
Yes, Spanish Town Hospital. Yes, yes.
How was that approach? Because that must be a huge deal in itself.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, it's tough. You know, you have to, you know, it takes money, you know, and it takes time. You know, when I was a young doctor, I worked very, very hard. I still work very hard, but when I was a young doctor, I worked very hard. And sometimes for days, I would be doing 24-hour shifts with some rest time in between. But at that time, I could really manage it. You know, I was young, I was full of energy. Yes. And it didn't come like anything to me at that time. And I was able to you know, save money and start my own practice.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things that we know about, you know, healthcare in Jamaica is extremely expensive. How do you manage this? Because I know that there's going to be a lot of patients that would have come to you and don't have the money. How do you deal with that?
Well, as a medical doctor, you know, sometimes people come to you and, you know, it wasn't their doing. They might have been there at home doing quite well, and something happened and they have to come to the doctor, and the money is not always readily available. You understand? So you have to be able to work with people. So also being a doctor, you have to work out the patient's finances as well as their medical issues. So, you know, and in the community, I mean, I serve, you know, an inner city community here in Spanish Town. And I work a lot with the people, you know. I cut prices drastically sometimes to facilitate them. I give credit. I do all the things necessary. I won't see somebody coming here and suffering and don't try and lend a helping hand, you know.
Oh man, you're doing amazing work. I have to applaud you with that, Dr. Waul. It's you know, it's really, it really touched my heart to understand a man, you know, like yourself, you know, helping communities and really not turning any patients away. And we need more people like you in our communities and more doctors like yourself. So that's something that I have to applaud you, you know, to do, because, you know, we know how tough it is in terms of healthcare. And
Definitely.
and one of the things, one of the question, I had a question in from one of the panelists, Ornette, and she asks that Jamaica has an enormous talent in terms of doctors like yourself, that selflessly, unselfishly chose to practice their craft in Jamaica. And it was the saying, it's the same, you stay because you want to serve the people.
Right.
But one question she asked, she said, what would be your ideal health system and what would it look like?
Well, in Jamaica, well, I think the ideal health system, when I talk to patients, I think it would be something similar to what Canada has, you know,
Yes.
in terms of, I think they may call it a single payer system where
Yes.
everybody pays something into the system, and when they go to the hospital, they are able to get all their tests, they're able to see a doctor, you know, for free. And basically the system pays the doctors to see the patients, and it's taken out from your salary, you know,
Yes.
as taxes. I think that would be the ideal healthcare setting.
Yes.
Because as you know, most medical issues are most of them are emergencies, and those are the ones that cost a lot of money. You understand?
Yes.
And if everybody can be insured, similarly to how you do a motor vehicle, you know, everybody is insured. So,
Yes.
you know, even if you have a very expensive car and you meet in a terrible accident, you're still able to get back something from the system. And I think we need to have a system like that in Jamaica, you know, that affords people insurance.
Yes.
Where they can get back something out of it, because people can't find millions of dollars sometimes, you know, to access, you know, these things.
Okay.
And a lot of people suffer because of that. So I think like a single payer system similar to what they have in Canada would be an ideal thing, you know.
Okay. And that's something that I think we have to continue to work on, and because I think the people of Jamaica deserve it. You know, there's a lot of challenges that we're going through, especially now. And COVID is really bringing a whole lot of health system to their knees.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And this is internationally. So we can imagine, you know, the case numbers are not that much in Jamaica, you know, to really test the resiliency of a healthcare system. But I'm sure you can share, you know, as we spoke about before, that, you know, there are severe challenges with infrastructure with respect to you know, our hospitals. You know,
Yes.
what can you tell me about that? What can you say about that?
Well, the hospital system, it needs a lot of investment, you know. It needs investing into, because I think we have very well trained healthcare personnel out in Jamaica here, but a lot of the times they are left there not being able to do what they want to do because of lack of resources. You know, you may have a doctor there waiting on the ward to treat a patient, but there's no bed on the ward, so that doctor can't carry out his work. You may have a surgeon there waiting to operate on a patient, but there's no operating room available. You know, you may have a bus load accident come into the emergency room, and immediately that will inundate the system. You understand? The system was not designed for that. And, you know, and the system, because the system is so heavily used also, you know, there's a lot of wear and tear on the equipment, and they aren't being replaced and they aren't being maintained. So it really takes a great toll on the system, and it needs reinvestment in terms of adequate management and in terms of infrastructure and in terms of equipment. But
okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little 2-minute break and just you know, just go to our sponsors to quickly run a sponsor. Then we're going to come back and talk a little more about
Welcome to Geo Paris Apartments, part of Hamilton Estates Limited, located in Farm Pen, Savlamar, Westmoreland, next to the Loving Care Academy School. Less than 10 minutes drive to Savlamar Town Center and the Savlamar Public General Hospital, located on the front with easy access to amenities. We offer the ultimate luxurious lifestyle, fully gated community, fully secured with 24-hour CCTV coverage. We have 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. Units are available for rent both long-term and short-term. Each unit is fully air-conditioned, comes with stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, custom kitchen cabinets, TV, Wi-Fi, microwave, kitchen utensils, custom closets, ceiling fans, sliding glass doors for the showers. All 1-bedroom units are fully furnished. You can call Jeffrey Johnson, 876-561-6414, Ricky Samuels, 876-524-1904, or Nadine Pilliner, 876-481-9998. Or you can email us, garoldh59@gmail.com. That's garoldh59@gmail.com. We look forward to welcoming you home. Hamilton Estates Apartments.
So that was just a little commercial break. You know, Hamilton Estate is it's my business that I have in Jamaica in terms of have apartments for rent, short term and long term. So just you know, continue to invest in the community, which is important, and that's something that my first apartment was built 15 years ago. So that's, you know, it's been something that's been a part of me. I built the next one, only completed 5 years ago also. So I continue to invest in my community. So Dr. Waul, you know, we had a nice little break, and that was to just to jump in and really talk about something that's your greatest ambition. And as you continue to serve the people, which is what you're trying to do, you made a decision that you're going to be the PNP candidate for Southwest St. Catherine.
Yes.
That's you know, that's daunting in itself, you know, in terms of the you know, doing that, and it's giving a lot of yourself. But what was the decision process? How did that come about?
Well, I was always a political minded person, you understand? But
Yes.
I wasn't deeply involved in politics in the sense that I wasn't any YO rep or anything like that. But the fact that I came from a family that loved politics, our family follows politics a lot.
Yes.
We're involved in a lot of local politics. You know, my father was a councillor, so I wasn't really involved though in a lot of, you know, like any youth arm of the PNP or anything like that. But I was a politically oriented person in my own right, given the fact that I was surrounded by it every day. You understand?
Yes.
I used to go out and help Dad when, you know, elections were running, go around the polling stations, drop off food, all of that sort of stuff, right? But of recent times, around 2 years ago, I became the treasurer in the South Division of Southwest St. Catherine.
Yes.
And I was working with our late comrade, you know, Kippy Mears. At that time, he was vying for the seat. But unfortunately, sadly, you know, he passed on, he died, you know. God rest his soul. He was also a mentor of mine, you know. And the situation arrived where, you know, I was chosen to be his successor. And when the opportunity arose, I didn't think twice, you know. I jumped in with both feet.
Okay, so was it a runoff, or was it a situation that you were chosen unanimously?
Yeah,
how was that process?
The executive basically convened a meeting, and they said that, you know, Dr. Waul is the right man for the job. You know, at that time, I didn't know it, but I trust the people, you know, the people.
So
the people.
you see how it come back to you, because you've been a man of the people.
Right.
And you've been serving the people.
Yes.
And it comes back that you were just chosen unanimously because, you know, they've seen your heart and seen the type of person that you are,
exactly,
Dr. Waul.
Exactly.
Dr. Waul, that's exemplary, and that's something that you know, one of the things that we're talking about, and the garrison politics mentality. I talked to you about it, and I know that's something that you want to make sure that you're bridging the gap between both parties and are here to serve the people and not to serve a particular party.
Right.
Talk to me about that, because that's something that's very different from how other people articulate it.
Yes, the setup of politics in Jamaica, I think it has to do a lot with the scarce benefits and spoils, where a particular member of parliament may think that, it doesn't have enough resources to really serve everybody properly. So it has, and I think that is my feeling. It is not probably, if they really look into it, they probably have enough resources, but over time they have developed that way of thinking where they will always look out most for their supporters. So it has really led to this sort of tribal politics. You understand? Of scarce benefits and spoils. And if anybody is going to get these scarce benefits and spoils, it has to be somebody who follows me. And that has become the culture, especially in my constituency. Thank God my constituency hasn't become a garrison. I wouldn't label it as a garrison constituency, despite the fact that the current member of parliament has been there for over 20 years, but we still have, our party, the PNP, is still very vibrant and very active and always ever present, ready to challenge and to challenge, give good challenge also. So thank you for that.
But talking about that, it's daunting enough that you have a 4-term MP that you're competing against. In itself, that's a a tough challenge. How do you plan to
Well, I am a member of the community. I'm a son of the soil of Southwest St. Catherine. I grew up there and I currently live there. I live inside the constituency. So I see my chances as even better than the current member of parliament. Because, after 4 terms, he has grown quite weary, and he has indicated on several occasions that he wants to retire. And I am here, and I'm telling the people that I want the job. So I think I have the edge on him on that, to the fact that he wants to retire, and I eagerly want to work for the people.
Absolutely. And I think that's the core mission that I see you running, and you're there to serve the people. And really, we talked about a fast-growing community that the constituency is. What are the other mandates that we can talk about in terms of, because I always like to hear, the candidate and what they're running on in terms of, mandate and how you plan to achieve your mission in being the MP. What would that look like?
Well, as you know, Southwest St. Catherine is one of the largest constituencies in terms of numbers. We have over 45,000 electorate registered to vote, right? And the constituency is rapidly growing. We have a number of housing scheme developments inside the constituency, but the fact of the matter is that the infrastructure inside the constituency has remained stagnant. If you were to leave Waul about 10 years ago and come back, 20 years after, leave the constituency 20 years ago and come back, you wouldn't see much change in terms of the basic infrastructure of the town layout. You understand? So we need a lot of improvement there. The challenges that the constituency face are sometimes particular to the divisions. As you know, the constituency has 4 divisions, and each division has a particular problems to them. For instance, in the north of the constituency, despite our current member of parliament being there for 20 years, those people have no running water, and that is a very sore point in the constituency that I have promised them that I will tackle this problem head on in my first year if I'm successful.
And that's
is basically
that's something that is I'm hearing it. That's a shame to know that there's no running water in some part of the constituency, and that's something that although we want this program to be educational and motivational, but we have to talk about the intrinsic challenges that we have, and the challenge that comes about because of political affiliation which shouldn't be, because it's the mission to serve the people. That should be the message, the mission, we're serving the people, and it should be across. You know, it shouldn't be because of certain parties in power that the other parties, persons supporting another party should suffer. This is really the bad way to look at things, and that's something that's really affecting the economy in a whole as well, and affecting that some people are able to, you know, to achieve success and are able to garner, you know, certain type, you know, part of career and work because of the affiliation. It's really the wrong way to approach it. But you know, that's something that and also as part of your mandate and stuff and everything. And I applaud you, and I wanted to continue to push in terms of, you know, ensure that when you're building, you know, we're building sustainable, as Edward Lord was looking at the panel and saying that we make sure that we you know, we find ways that we can create employment and find ways that when we're building, we are sustainable, so that basically it lasts, you know, it's lasting. And that's something that's extremely important, you know. And as we don't want to push too much, we're about 7 o'clock now, but just wanted to really applaud you, Dr. Waul, in terms of your service, what you're doing in your community, you know, your mission as a medical doctor, and how you're serving the patients in terms of, you know, some of the patients don't even have money. You charge half price to a lot of them, and some don't have, and you still don't turn them away. You still don't turn them away. But you know, a key summary is that, you know, a takeaway is that, you know, growing up, you need a community type environment to grow a child, and that's extremely important. That's something that we want our adults out there to hear, that you're important part of it. You're important part of building that youth exuberance, so that we can grow. You're a part of it. And having a father that was a mentor, that's important. So having your father around playing an important part in your life, that's extremely important also.
Yes.
And coming through, going to good school, having good teachers that Jamaica do have, you know, that can shape you and guide you. And then one thing that you mentioned also about you not being, you know, a brilliant from the start, or, you know, the brightest person, but you were able to work hard over and over again and work on your craft until you get it right. You know, you're a medical doctor, you're top of the echelon when it comes to Jamaica, because it's difficult to get in medical school, but you're there. And you know, so we can teach people who are questioning themselves right now that, you know, there are ways. You just have to just put in that extra effort. And now, you know, in your mission to serve and to continue to serve, you know, you're looking to serve your own constituency and serving the people of Jamaica. I applaud you, Dr. Waul. I applaud you. You know, I'm glad that you're the first, you know, person I interview on the show. You're a friend of mine, but also a person who have I view as more than a friend. You know, the type of person you are, the integrity of a man like you. And I always admire how you are as a person. And, you know, I lift my hat to people like you. We wish we have more people like you in Jamaica and in the community. And Mr. Waul, any last words with respect to we have a lot of persons sign on, a lot of your friends also, and a lot of people from, you know, US and Jamaica. Any last words?
Yeah, my last words is that, you know, service to people has been my life's work, you understand? And I am committed to Southwest St. Catherine. I am absolutely committed to overcome any challenge, all the challenges that they are currently facing right now. And I have a long-term commitment with my community, and I will be there to see them through if I'm successful. And
absolutely,
yeah, man, I will give my heart and soul to you guys. I tell you that. I promise you that.
So what I'm gonna do, you know, without further, what I want to do also is to yes, I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. So thank you. I want to, before you leave, I want to run, because, you know, this whole Get Youth conversation came from the Ghetto Youth's Bible, which is my book. You came to the launch and stuff and everything, and I just wanted to run a quick video to showing the Ghetto Youth Bible story. So that's something. Let me get this going.
Ghetto Youth's Bible provides a riveting narrative of the life of one of Jamaica's brightest sons, Garold Hamilton. Who would believe that a youngster hailing from the tough inner-city community of Shaolin, located between two cemeteries in Savlamar, Westmoreland, would rise to such prominence in the engineering field in one of the leading metropoles in the world, the United States of America? Garold's journey, as chronicled in Ghetto Youth's Bible, provides a compelling account of how dedication, determination, and discipline can lead to positive outcomes despite one's starting point in life. The book provides a rich account of Garold's journey from his humble home in the inner city to his impressive academic, professional, and philanthropic achievements. The lessons learned from the experiences shared in the volume will provide a blueprint that others can follow in their pursuit of greatness, despite even a humble starting point in life. The common adage, "It's not where you are coming from, but where you are going that will determine your success," holds true in this book. From working on construction sites, barbering on graves, selling in the markets on weekends, to becoming one of the chief engineers in the healthcare sector in Washington, D.C. This story is not only inspiring, but also motivational. It should serve as a motivation for all children, whether those in the inner city communities or those in the upper echelons of society, to aspire to their dream. It is no secret that careful mentorship and strong parental values are important keys to success in life. These important lessons were front and center in the narrative which describes Garold's life. Garold's church, school, and home community all played significant roles in providing moral support and helping him to shape him into the person he is today. Today, Garold is not only a brand in Westmoreland and Shaolin, his childhood community, he is one of the most gifted engineers in the United States in the healthcare sector. He is frequently asked to give speeches and motivational talks in both his professional as well as philanthropic endeavors. His humility endears him to all. More so, he sees himself as an example of what all dreamers can achieve. As such, he has dedicated a big part of his time to mentoring and providing motivational talks to children, especially those less privileged. This book is a critical part of the philanthropic journey. It is inspiring, visionary, while practical, and very well written, in a style suitable to all audiences. It is recommended reading for all those who are trying to engage with transformational, not only in Jamaica, but anywhere across the globe. The lessons are timeless and borderless. I recommend this book to all.
Thank you, Dr. Waul. You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Wanted to wanted the people to actually see.
Yeah, man, Kirkwall, good youth. Them youth they associate with the whole of youth them down for a long time. Anyway, you seen coming up past nobody.
Yeah. We get original 150% proud of him when we heard that he opened his doctor surgery in Spanish Town, and all the people from Old Harbour Bay going there is paying half price, some is paying none.
Yeah, Mr. Kirkwall of the people, because the people is for Kirkwall. He might go stand up for we. And that means he might go to stand up for we good.
The reason why I would support Dr. Kirkwall is because he's a humble guy. He listens to us. He tries to work with us. He tries to communicate with the young.
To Dr. Waul, can you hear me? Well, just wanted to give you guys the final look on Dr. Waul and let him just to see what the people are saying about him. You know, for me, this is not political. This is not my mandate. This is not what I want to talk about. It's about motivation and inspiration, and talking about people who are there to help the community and move the needle. This is what Ghetto Youth Conversation is about. And we thank you for joining us And we want you to continue to send me questions and comments also, and send me people who you want to see and who you want to talk to. You know, it's been awesome. You know, there's a lot of folks that I've seen sign on both on Zoom and on Facebook. I thank you for the time. You know, we we're honored to have Dr. Waul, and we'll see you again next time for Ghetto Youth Conversations.
Like and subscribe, and tune in next time to hear more of the Ghetto Youth Bible Conversations with Garold Hamilton.